Yes, talagang ano no, Karen, nag-double or nag-triple mula nung 2016 to 2022. In 2019 to 2022, talagang 460 million yon every year. So nadoble ito mula nung panahon na naging mayor si dating presidente Duterte. So we are wondering bakit ganito kalaki? Dahil sinasabi pa nga sa Davao City na peaceful, orderly, wala nang problema sa insurgency, etc. Pero bakit gano'n yung trend ng confidential fund? And nagtataka kami, Karen, alam naman natin itong confidential fund is in cash na ibinibigay. Cash ito na ibinibigay sa head of agency. So we wonder if really the city of Davao, itong kanilang confidential fund were properly audited by the COA.
So, ito para alam to ng publiko, ang confidential funds sa LGU dina-download in cash directly and buo?
Yes, tama, Karen. In cash ito lahat ng mga confidential fund kasi nga by the nature of the fund at saka yung nasa guidelines. Dito sa mga LGU, it should not exceed 30% of their peace program o yung tinatawag nilang POP. Dapat hindi ito mag-exceed dun sa POP at dapat meron talaga itong program na paggagamitan ng confidential funds. So nagtaka tayo kasi may mga times na during that period mas malaki pa yung confidential funds sa budget sa education tsaka dun sa health. So yun yung very controversial doon at nagtataka tayo at with this resolution actually kami Karen na nag-file nitong resolution na to para imbestigan. This would bring out sa lahat ng mga LGU ng common law or magkaroon talaga ng law on how to use the confidential fund. Nagkataon lang na ginamit natin itong Davao City kasi kakaiba talaga yung trend nung budgeting ng Davao City when it comes to confidential fund. Pero I'm sure na pagdating ng panahon na ma-hear ito, magkakaroon na ng guidelines in all LGUs.
Okay, but let's be fair. From 2016 to 2022, were there other LGUs that essentially had the same confidential funds compared to Davao?
As far as I know, Karen, dun sa tinignan naming ibang mga LGU, there's no LGU na may ganun kalaki na confidential fund. Based lang doon sa mga nakita natin. Comparing sa mga malalaking city like Quezon City, Manila, and other cities. Hindi ganun lumaki. Halimbawa sa Quezon City, parang 200 million lang yung pinakamalaking confidential funds na nakita.
Okay, because I'm looking right now at the data in 2017 from the confidential funds of Davao City, that was 144 million. It doubled the first year that she was mayor to 293 million. In 2018, it increased again. From 290 million, it became 420 million. And in 2019, till the end of her term, it became 460 million. Could it be that this is the reason why the vice president asked for 500 million in confidential funds for the OVP? Because she was used to leading in Davao with that kind of amount of confidential funds.
Yes, Karen, so nakita natin yung history at yung trend ng request ng confidential fund. So, kaya nga naisip natin, baka siguro gusto niya magkaroon ng ganito kalaking confidential fund on the office of the Vice President kasi meron siyang ganong 460. So, nangyari na lang yan, Karen, when we search ni-research natin yung confidential fund ng Davao. So used na siya sa ganong kalaking confidential fund. Kaya siguro dito, di ba, nag-request siya ng 2022 ng 250 million 'Diba? Ng 2022, 200, parang kalahating taon pa lang kasi noon noong 2022, kaya nag-request siya ng 250 million. Kaya tingin talaga natin, nasanay na siya dun sa ganong klase ng kalaking confidential funds.
Okay, now, was there any kind of auditing? Did the Commission on Audit at least present to Congress? Because it's their job to audit the confidential funds of LGUs. That's a span of 6 years.
Yes, so we still have to find out. Kaya nga po nag-file kami ng House Resolution 1396 because during the budget deliberation on the COA budget, sinabi nila, Karen, that there are more than 2,000 na mga offices, LGUs na talagang hindi pa nila na-audit. Tingin natin, I presume kabilang dito yung kabilang dito yung Davao City na hindi pa rin nila na-audit, kaya lalabas yan, Karen, doon sa inquiry kapag ito ay iniyagan na ng leadership na mahir sa Kongreso.
Okay. Now, the perceived front runners for the 2028 elections is Speaker Martin Romualdez and Vice President Sara Duterte. Could you be unwittingly be used by the House against the Vice President?
No, wala sa isip namin yan, Karen. Have you seen naman yung track record ng Makabayan Black? So baka incidental lang ito, yung kay Vice President Sara Duterte, kasi nga may ginawa siya noong 2022. Pero wala sa isip po natin na magamit itong issue na to during kung meron mga political ambitions si Sara Duterte o si Speaker Romualdez. So it's too early para sabihin na nagdedirect yung ginagawa namin doon kasi wala kaming ganon. Tinitignan lang natin talaga yung accountability and transparency at para maproteksyonan yung pondo po ng mamamayan.
Okay. And what about you and Congresswoman Stella Kimbo? Are you in speaking terms? Have you dialogued? I mean, considering it was Congresswoman Kimbo, who it was ironic that she was the one who revealed that the 2022 funds of 125 million were spent in not 19 days, but 11 days.
Yeah, during the time, during the budget hearing, medyo siguro naging cold sa amin si Representative Stella Kimbo, pero sa amin wala naman yon eh. So, di lang din kami nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na mag-dialogue pa or magkausap dahil masyadong busy during that time, lalong-lalo na yung last day. So, hindi pa kami nag-uusap, pero kami sa Makabayan Black, kami naman po we are friends to our colleagues. Kaya whatever na kung meron kaming mga pinagtatalunan, later on naman dapat pa rin with speaking terms. Ganon din naman yung iba't ibang mga kongresista sa House. We are colleagues.
Okay, my last question is, yesterday I hosted a forum on women, leaders, and democracy. This was a United Nations forum. And what's interesting is Congressman Ed Selagman pointed out that while there are many critics of the confidential funds, the ones being lambasted, insulted are only women. Yourself and Senator Risa. Are you seeing here a misogynistic, chauvinistic trend that, frankly, mas madaling tirahin ang babaeng lawmaker?
Yes. Parang kapansin-pansin yun kasi
kasi may mga lalaki naman, may mga lalaki na tumitira din at ayaw ng confidential fund, and yet they haven't been insulted by the Vice President or the former President.
Yes, oo, mas madali talagang tingin natin mas madaling insultuhin yung mga babae. Pero nakita niyo naman, kahit na kami ay iniinsulto, kahit na kami ay nire-red tag, binivilify, tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman yung aming pag-scrutiny doon sa budget. Hindi kami natitinag. So, yun siguro yung yung nature at culture ng ating lipunan, na talagang kapag ang babae ay nagsasalita, akala nila second class citizen sa tingin ng mga kalalakihan, o lalong-lalo na yung mga misogynist like former President Duterte, na yung kakalan nila, kayang-kaya nila, yung mga kababaihan na kagaya namin, at kagaya namin na mga mahihirap, ay kayang-kaya nilang tirahin or sabihan ng masama. So, ganun kasi yung nature ng ating lipunan, Karen. Kaya tayo pinapakita talaga natin na ang kababaihan ay hindi second-class citizen sa ating bansa at kaya nating tumindig doon sa mga prinsipyo, doon sa pagtatanggol sa ating mga mamamayan, doon sa pagprotekta sa pondo ng ating mga mamamayan, at kaya natin tumindig for good governance, accountability, and transparency.
All right, on that note, thank you so much, Representative Franz Castro.